Hey, songwriters, composers, artists. I watched an hour-long video from the Guild of Music Supervisors discussing AI. There was the main leader, and then there was an attorney and a filmmaker and another woman who is versed in the ethics of AI in the industry. I just want to talk about some of the more noteworthy things that I typed out as I was listening. I'm only going to tell you the stuff that came as a surprise to me. The Drake song that was created with AI and then later was taken down by the record label. I would have assumed that the problem was that Drake's voice itself was owned by the record label at the time, and that was what the ground was that they were standing on. But apparently it was just that song happened to use a tag from a different song. And that was the only ground that the record label had to stand on. What the lawyer said was, if that wasn't in there, what rights would the label have had? He said that there would have been no copyright issue because it was a new composition and a new master recording. So then he talked about the rights of publicity, which is on a state level legality. So it's not a federal thing. So there are only 36 states that have publicity rights in their law. And it's kind of like a right of privacy or trademark law and the commercial value of your persona. He said there has to be a likelihood of confusion. So it's not yet robust enough to cover every single use. Someone as famous as Drake, it's an easy argument to make because he's well known, but indie artists don't have the level of publicity yet. So no protection there at this time. They also said, does the right to publicity extend when no one is monetizing it? And he said, you can really only collect damages if somebody is monetizing it. That the digital distribution platforms will enact their own terms of service, and they won't want to offend the record labels because they want to maintain good relationships with them. So they could say that anybody who uploads an AI, they'll take it down, but the question is, will their systems be robust enough to detect when AI has been used? And that's a big question mark. Another point that was surprising to me is that they gave the statistic that 100 million AI tracks have currently been generated for streaming in digital outlets, which I think the previous thing I was talking about was regarding AI vocals, okay? So this is talking about instrumental stuff, and that's a lot of tracks. And I did see an article that was saying that one record label had released the equivalent of 40% of all of the music that had ever been recorded since the beginning of recording equipment. Within a few months, they released that onto Spotify, and Spotify took it all down. But the amount of content that people can create with AI in just a matter of minutes, and then if they want to release that commercially, that displaces human-created content for listening. And there are also, as my students do these reports, there are also AI apps that will just generate new instrumental music for you to listen to indefinitely until you tell it to stop. So again, this could displace plays that human beings who've already created music will get through digital distribution platforms. One more takeaway, they didn't explicitly say this, but what I interpolated from what they were saying is that, the indemnity clauses that are in contracts when people license music or sell music, they're there for a reason. And if you as a music creator lean into an AI app and their terms of service has not been read carefully, if they're not transparent about the models, what the models have been trained on, and if there's any chance, which right now is so uncertain, that there could be copyright infringement issues, legal, litigious movements in the future from these content creators that were used to train this AI model without their knowledge or consent. It seems really risky to lean into the use of an AI tool currently for the use of commercially released music or music that you're doing for a client, if you have not yet read the terms of service and if they're not being transparent about what they're using to train their models, because you could end up losing your shirt. So this is just what I learned this morning and I wanted to share.